Hola amigos, welcome to Latina Mic Drop Podcast. It's your girl Miriam Simon, and today we are going to dive into a situation that happened to me when I was about 20 years old. So let me paint the picture. I was driving home. I used to work 3 to 11s at the time, and I had two little babies. I had my son and my daughter. So both of them must have been under 3 years old at the time. And I was driving home after work. I had just picked them up from my mom's house. And what happened was that the car broke down on me. So the car breaks down. I'm on the side of the road. I am headed towards Paterson, New Jersey from Passaic, New Jersey. The road is abandoned. The road is dark. It's probably midnight. I am stranded. I'm stranded with two little babies and I have no cell phone. I had a beeper. There was no payphone nearby. And imagine not having a cell phone in this day and age, but there was a time where we didn't have one. So here I was, a young 20-year-old on the side of the road. My car breaks down and I have two little babies, two car seats in the car. And I got out of the car. I pulled over to the side, right? The car was on the side of the road and people start to stop to try to help me. So I had one guy pull up and he was like, "Oh, I'll take you home." But I don't know, he seemed a little weird to me and I was very apprehensive of getting in the car with him. And then there was another person who pulled over. And this is the reason why I do what I do so much, because this person, I have no idea who she is. I have no idea what her name was. I had no way to contact her. And she pulled over. She saw that the guy was trying to talk to me and she realized something was off. And she stops and she says, "You know what? You could go to the guy." She tells him to leave. And then she talks to me and she says, "You know what? I could take you home," right? So she realized I had two little babies with me and I pick up the car seats. She helps me and we get into her car and she brings me safely home. I went upstairs, dropped off one kid, then I went back down, picked up the other one and, brought them upstairs. And this is one of those moments where I am just so grateful for this angel that stopped to help me. And I write about her in my book because I think about how special that moment was for me and how she absolutely had no idea who I was. She, out of the kindness of her heart, decides to come out of the car and realizes that, anything could happen to me, especially with a guy. And not saying the guy was bad, but I don't know, I just wasn't going to go with him. And I just felt so grateful for being able to go home and be safe and have my two little ones with me. And, all I could say to her in the moment was really thank you. And I appreciate her so much. And so just thinking about that one moment makes me think about how in today's society, in today's world, we have an opportunity to help others when no one is around, when there is no audience to applaud after you've done something good. And you may never get recognized for this type of good deed that this woman did. And here I am, over 25 years later, still thinking about that one moment, which it makes me really emotional to think of how grateful I am because I am safe and my kids were safe that night because of her. And I'll never know who she is. I don't have any clue who she was, but she was a perfect stranger who came and helped me at the right time and was able to help me and my little ones. And I will forever be grateful for that because I didn't have a phone. It was going to be impossible for me to even get home. That moment was, I mean, there was no way I was going to walk home. Like literally, I was trying to get onto Route 80 and anything could have happened to me that night. Anything to me, to my kids. And it's just so important that we realize that sometimes us doing a good deed, and I remember what she did for me, and I remember how humble she was. I think it's just really important for us to think about where is it that we can do good deeds for somebody else. And right now, what we really need is community with each other. We really need to look out for one another. And sometimes we don't realize that it may end up in a really bad situation. So we need to be very careful about it because sometimes trying to help somebody could end your life. And that's a reality that we all have to live with every single day. And it's a reality that we have very different vulnerabilities. And I always say that vulnerability looks different for everyone because my vulnerabilities as a woman is very different than it is for a guy. My vulnerabilities as a mother is very different for other people that are not. Vulnerability is very different for me as an LGBTQ plus person. Being a Latina, being a Mexican, there are just so many different vulnerabilities that we need to think about. And other people have other vulnerabilities that we don't speak about and that we may not even see firsthand. And many people have a different way of seeing life because their perspective is different and their privilege is different. And they may not have the same vulnerabilities as others do. And it's just really important now that we ensure our safety and security. And we want that for ourselves. We want to have certainty in our lives. We want to have the safety that we need. But there are times too where we need help, where we may find ourselves in a situation where we are in need of others. And it's okay to accept help, right? But paying attention to who you accept help from is also key, right? If I would have gotten in the car with one of the men, who knows what would have happened to me? I was a young 19, 20-year-old girl, and I had 2 babies with me. Like anything could have happened to my babies. So when you think about that, right, anything could have happened and anything could have gone wrong. And who knows, maybe even the woman could have done something, right? But the vibe was not, I didn't get that vibe from this lady. I would have been putting myself in danger for no reason. Those are the kinds of things we have to think about. Like, we cannot help everybody and we cannot help everything. There is always an option of something we can help with. And the good thing is that we can all pay attention to our options, pay attention to where we are, help each other, meet each other where we are, and understand that vulnerability looks very different for others. And the courage that it might take for somebody to speak up, maybe the courage they need to protect themselves. Speaking up could cost you your life. And I grew up in a neighborhood where you hanging around the wrong people or talking to the wrong people or being at the wrong place at the wrong time could cost you your life. And now we're seeing that expanded into not just the urban areas. Now we're seeing it in many different areas of our country. It's history repeating itself. It's a pattern repeating itself. It's just reaching new demographics. It's reaching a new group of people. And therefore, the suffering is expanding and the suffering is becoming larger. And this is an opportunity here for us to understand that there is change that we can manifest, that we can come into action, even if we have done different choices before. This is an opportunity to be able to do things differently and lead our next generations and the ones that are currently here into a different reality. And I always think about my kids, because imagine back then I was only 19, 20, and I was just more concerned about their safety actually than mine. And now I think about my granddaughter who, has to think about these other vulnerabilities that are coming up, and for my kids as well. So it's a very difficult time. And just to see that this has always been our reality, because there has not been a moment since I was a little girl that we didn't experience this. And we have experienced it. And that's why we seek approval. That's why tend to hide who we are, tend to hide what we're doing. We tend to hide, not because we're bad people, but because people are looking for us and people are on the prowl for people like us that look like us. And it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that we've been living with. And it's unfortunate now that it's reaching so many people. And for those people that are feeling really hard feelings, feeling sad, feeling anger, it's natural. Think about a way that you can address those feelings and express those feelings. And sometimes it's through writing, sometimes it's through art, sometimes it's through poetry. Figure out what it is that helps you process your emotions, process the moments, and think about how much you take in, and make sure that it's not a consistent negative, 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 in, and no positive outputs, and no positive inputs either. And that's today's episode, because I really just wanted to chime in and let you know about a very difficult time and a moment where a perfect stranger showed up for me, and how those moments really matter, and how those moments can change someone's life instantly, for good or for bad. And we are definitely experiencing some very tough times, and we are definitely experiencing it in real time. So it's just really important for us to stick together, unify as much as we can, have momentum in what we can do, and think about what we can do, even if we don't receive flowers for it, even if we don't get recognition, even if it is, helping somebody on the side of the road. And even nowadays we have to be careful with that, because people could be lying about it too, right? You never know. And even just who does it, it's just, you just don't know what you're going to get into these days, and you just don't know what you don't know. And we can take different risks. It's important for us to be safe and protect ourselves how we can. So thank you for today's episode. This is Latina Mic Drop. Talk to you soon. Hey, it's your girl Miriam Simon, and I'd love to invite you to Love Your Voice on Galentine's Day, Friday, February 13th, 2026. We are celebrating Galentine's Day a little differently this year, and I really hope you'll join us. So creating a podcast has opened doors in ways I didn't expect, but whether we want to admit it or not, we all have those moments of self-doubt creep in. And there's no shame in that. That's why we created the Love Your Voice mini summit, because sometimes you just need someone to give you permission to trust yourself again. If you've ever struggled with showing up at the mic, the Love Your Voice Summit will help you trust your voice again without overthinking every word or dimming who you are to sound professional. The steps it takes to fall back in love with your story so that you can show up consistently and create episodes that actually energize you are right here. To help you beat the self-doubt, quiet that hater in your head, get rid of that hater, and actually publish from a place of confidence, you can get your free ticket to the Love Your Voice Mini Summit in the notes below. You'll get practical tools and mindset shifts that work right now. That makes creating content you're proud of not a creator, not a podcast. This is still a great event for you because finding your voice is a thing that you can have for yourself. If you're excited to fall back in love with your voice, hit the notes below and sign up to Love Your Voice Mini Summit. See you there. Hey, I feel like the world is a little heavy right now. This is the moment for you to join Boldly Rising, a retreat to reclaim your confidence amidst uncertainty. The Lean In Latinas executive coaches coming together to bring you a retreat for Latinas and allies to pause, realign, and rise with confidence, clarity, and comunidad. Latinas have always risen in the face of uncertainty through resilience, corazón, and comunidad. Boldly Rising is a half-day virtual retreat designed for Latinas ready to reclaim their confidence, reconnect with their inner guidance, and step fully into the next chapter of your lives. This is more than a retreat. It's a transformational space where reflection meets activation, where your lived experience is honored. You know me, combining street wisdom with corporate strategy, always paying attention to our lived experiences. Your voice is strengthened and your purpose comes into focus. You will leave clearer, grounded, and ready to rise into what's next. This free retreat is for you if you're a Latina, first gen, or Latina ally navigating uncertainty, change, or transition. You feel ready to step into leadership, growth, or a new chapter. You want to honor your cultura and lived experience in your personal and professional life. You're ready to rise with clarity, confidence, and intention. Especially in today's state, life is full of change, questions, uncertainty, and responsibility. And Latinas often carry the weight for both our families and community expectations. Boldly Rising exists to give you a space to pause, realign, and access the power you already hold. Here, your cultura, values, and experiences are celebrated as the fuel for your growth. This retreat is a reminder that transformation does not come from pushing harder, but from reconnecting deeply with yourself and rising from the place of alignment, attunement, and action. This half-day retreat blends trauma-informed coaching, cultural reflection, leadership tools, and embodied practices. You'll leave with practical strategies, emotional clarity, and a renewed sense of confidence, and actionable steps to move forward in all aspects of your life and career. So join us February 21st from 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific time on February 21st. Boldly Rising, a retreat to reclaim your confidence amidst uncertainty. See you there.